Hello. So another one of these weird and wonderful projects that I'm doing, and it's called GoScan, and it is a URL reputation scanner. I guess is the best way to describe it. Is the code here? I'll maybe go through the code a little bit. Again, this so like a lot of my projects that I'm doing at the minute that are not Python, I'm keeping the code closed source for now. The tool itself will be free. A compiled version of it will be free. Everyone can use it. This one itself, I don't think is going to be particularly useful because all I'm doing is aggregating information from other sources. So let me actually pull up and go scan if it will come up for me. Where did you go? So this is GoScan, the lovely little coffee infused gopher there. So all this is doing is that it is taking a domain that you give it. So the usual one I go for is steam.com. This is not the gaming platform. I found out it's not that's not the gaming platform. This is a train company. In fact, if we go to it, steam.com. Oh, maybe it's dead now. It used to be just a big picture of a train. We'll see if that loads. Yeah, I always thought it was like Steam. Oh no, it's gone. Oh, that's sad. So that used to be my test site for everything, was that it was just steam.com, and I thought it was the gaming company. It's not. It was just a picture of an old steam train and some like steam train enthusiast site. Who knew? Anyway, all this is doing is it's running a web page, as you can see, and you enter in a domain, you hit enter, and then it returns harmless, malicious, suspicious, undetected. All this is doing is making an API call to Vtotal and URL scan, and is getting a report back from them. At the minute, all that's displayed, this is just from Vtotal. The URL scan stuff is there. I just haven't got it done on the page. I cannot do front end development very well. I suck at it so bad. This is as good as you're gonna get. But all it's doing is pulling that information in and then displaying it. So in this case, it's saying that 67 vendors saw this as harmless, 20 seen it as undetected, 0 saw it malicious or suspicious. I wanted to sort of evolve this into a bigger thing, but it just started as a way to learn Go. And I mean, it's been working so far, but it sort of took a back burner with all the Rust projects that I have going on at the minute. But what I wanted to try and do, I don't know if you can write phone applications in Go. I haven't even Googled that yet. I don't know. But my thought was to make this into something that you could then have an app on your phone that whenever you click a link, it gives you the option. So even if you accidentally click on the link, whether you tap it, hold it, whatever, just you can have it set in the settings that whenever you tap a link, it then says, hey, do you want to send this to GoScan first before actually navigating to the link? And then it'll go scan it and bring it back and say, yeah, okay, this is fine. No, it's not. I know there's plenty of things out there that do that out there, but I wanted to make this it's not an antivirus product. It's not a we will keep you safe online product. It is entirely there just to be like, hey, is this link okay in a text message, a phone, whatever, and it gives you the ability to do a quick sanity check. That was my thinking for this in the long term. For now, obviously, I'm just learning Go, so I just wanted to be able to create a web page that I can then do a scan off and then get some information back. The code itself is fairly basic. Again, it's not open source, so I'm not going to scroll through all this, but I mean, you can see on the right hand side, oh, you can't, my face is blocking it. Hold on, let me. Whoop, whoop. Oh, yeah, up here. It's not a big piece of code. It's just making an API call. I did consider whether I could gather that information myself. Vtotal is just going to other vendors and aggregating that information. I could probably do that. I would assume that information is open source of some shape or form, that they're just maybe making individual API calls to all of those vendors or storing some of that information. I don't know. Actually. Yeah, I might do that. I might try that just to see if we can then create our own, so that it's not going out and relying on Vtotal. The reason that the Vtotal is okay for now, but if I was doing it in the future, it might be bad, is that if I wanted this to be a phone app or something like that, means lots of people are going to be using this, lots of people are going to be making API calls to VirusTotal. If I'm doing that from one API key, VirusTotal might be like, hey, the fuck you doing? And rightly so. So if we had that information aggregated elsewhere, from the sources directly, which is I'm assuming where VirusTotal is pulling it from. And I could also do, so this is how my train of thought works. Yeah, ADHD. I could also, instead of URL scan, the main thing that I'm pulling from URL scan is a screenshot of the site, because I think that's incredibly helpful for a quick, yeah, that looks suspicious or not. And like that's easy to do in code. Like I wouldn't need to do an API call to URL scan to do that. I could just make a request to the site, in code, and take the screenshot. Let me know what you think, if that's feasible or not. And particularly if it's feasible in Go. I have been like balls deep in Rust recently, and I've gotten very used to the fact that Rust is really, really young and really immature in a lot of its libraries. So a lot of stuff is like not even in version 1. I haven't touched Go in a bit, and I can't remember whether Go is the same. I have a feeling, now there's similar ages in languages, but I think Go had much more of a community behind it that was like building shit, because it was a lot easier to get into. Rust is so fucking complicated. Really powerful once you get your head around it. Don't get me wrong, it is really good language to learn, and I am really enjoying using it. But I know that Go is just that little bit kinder to get into. The learning curve at the start isn't quite as steep, and it's a lot easier to like just get into it, especially if it's your first, like if you're going from Python into like a compiled language. I think Go is a good segue into that, because it's not that dissimilar. The biggest hurdle to get over is the fact that it's statically typed. So with Python, sorry, this just went off on a complete tangent on the differences between Python, Go, and Rust, but hey, I talked about everything I need to talk about Go, so, or the GoScan, so here we are. So yeah, the statically typed variant of it. So if you have, if you make a Python dictionary and you make a web request or something, you get some JSON information back, you can just like fire that into the dictionary, and Python doesn't give a shit. It's like, yeah, I don't care. Just give me all the JSON, I'll sort it out. With Go and Rust, with statically typed languages, you have to be more specific, and that's what tripped me up a lot. That fact, this bit here, which is why I thought about it, this struct, because I wanted to pull back the harmless, malicious, suspicious, undetected, or if there was a timeout, from the JSON response. And I was like, how the hell do I do that? Because they were saying, oh yeah, you need to have the JSON, you need to be specific in where you're pulling that information from. And I was like, the JSON changes each time, how the hell do I do that? It took a bit of learning, but it's the fact that I just tell it, no, these are the bits that I care about. I don't need to worry about everything else. So I know that the JSON response, which is that struct, then within that is a data struct. Okay, so it's the same as if you were following in Python. So if you were like, if this was in Python, it would be something like JSON res, and then you would do something like this with data, and then attributes. Sorry, I'm typing slow because my keyboard is busted and I need a new one. Attribute. Okay, I'm not going to spell it right, but yeah, attributes. So, like, that's the way that you would pull that information out of like a Python dictionary, and you could just chuck the information in there, and it would pull it out fine. But in Go, you have to be sort of more verbose and say, yeah, I need this data struct out of that JSON response. I need the attributes out of that JSON response, and I need the last analyst statistics stats struct, and then you have the actual values in here. And did not mean to do that. And then that's where you put the JSON. So whenever I'm pulling the JSON information back, I'm then putting it into this struct. So you have to sort of build the structure that you care about, the bits that you want first, and then you pass the information into it. If you don't do that, it'll freak out and say, no, I don't know what to do with this. It's not structured already for me. That's a little bit of a learning curve. Going from something like Python. If you're used to a statically typed language like others, I don't know. I learned PowerShell and then Python and now Go and Rust. So these were the first forays for me into statically typed languages like this, or strongly typed languages. I can't remember the term. Just languages where you have to be a bit more verbose about what the hell it is you're wanting. Lots of Google, lots of Stack Overflow got me here, and as you can see, lots of commented out code. So definitely, Go is powerful. If any of you have any things in the bottom, or anything that you suggest for, if it is possible to do this in Go, of like taking screenshots of site, aggregating the information, I think is fine, because it's just going to be API calls, which I'm already doing. That's fine. Like every code can do an API call of some shape or form. But particularly like, taking screenshots of sites and stuff like that. I just don't know how the libraries or the, what are they called? They're called crates in packages. The packages in Go, whether they're modern enough, if they're up to date enough. Yeah, I don't know, but let me know in the comments. So yeah, this is GoScan. If you want to see more of this, let me know.